And one of the biggest movers and shakers perhaps was Sam Altman, the man behind generative AI ChatGPT. ChatGPT, Kartik, Krishna, was in the news for right and wrong reasons, in the news for right reasons, for introducing to the world what AI can do. But Sam Altman's own life was quite muddy, come to think of it. Very, very difficult terrain that he had to surpass. Some of the biggest challenges that came his way by the way of a board that fired him, rehired him, and the board that he fired after he was rehired. Sam Altman is the CEO of the year according to Time, and rightly so.
I don't know, rightly so or not, Shweta, but yeah, I think barring those 3, 4 days, 5 days perhaps of his life being muddled, I think he had a pretty rocking year, if you ask me. And if there is one man who would really end 2023 on a very, very successful high note, it would be Sam Altman, right?
Apart from Satya Nadella, of course.
Yeah, sure, true. And for the same reasons, right? So I think, yeah, so what really happened? How did the year start? I think it was beginning of the year, Jan this year, when we were all hearing of something called ChatGPT for the first time. And not surprising, I think it wasn't just us. Everybody in the world was discovering this new toy out there in the market that you could either download on your phones or you could just log into, paying nothing initially and then a little bit subsequently. And you really had an engine, a chat engine out there that would dish out practically everything that you wanted in any style you wanted. And then coupled with that, ChatGPT, of course, was the headliner of the year and the fastest growing app, the most downloaded app, all those numbers did the headlines. But little did we know back then, which we discovered subsequently, that ChatGPT wasn't the only offering from OpenAI. The other offering was another generative AI image generator called DAL-E. And these two then eventually got combined in the 4th generation of ChatGPT, which was ChatGPT 4. Now, all of this made OpenAI obviously one of the biggest, most talked about AI companies in the world.
It's biggest since Google.
Biggest since Google. It was touted to be the biggest, the most revolutionary since Google. And remember, and since we're talking about Google, this was exactly the year when that fight for AI was absolutely rife between 3 dominant players. One being Google, and Google's own chatbot called Bard, which we've seen little versions of that, but it hasn't really yet been able to make an impact or a real dent in the AI landscape. The other was Microsoft, because Microsoft, remember, also had a fairly exciting year with, of course, the acquisition of the gaming company, Game Vision or something, if I'm not mistaken, what it was called, and that the maker of of Call of Duty. But anyway, so that is digressing, but that is Microsoft. So there was Google, there was Microsoft, and there was the Chinese player Baidu. The 3 of them were seen as front runners in development of AI.
And then Elon Musk also joined the fray.
Elon Musk, of course, joined the fray with XAI, etc. But again, I mean, you've also seen Wipro and Infosys and a lot of Indian IT
Musk
companies.
Joins a lot of frays.
And Musk continued to sit on the board of OpenAI in any case. But anyway, what I'm coming to is that between Google, Microsoft and Baidu, there was this one out of nowhere, out of nothing, never heard of company called OpenAI and a man called Sam Altman who comes and starts leading that race by miles. So the first thing that Satya Nadella decided to do was make a very, very solid $10 billion investment in OpenAI. And OpenAI then obviously got wings of its own to fly on, and it became a very, very exciting story. And as it was developing, I think it was 17th of November, if I'm not mistaken, when Sam Altman got fired. Got fired by the board. Suggesting that Sam Altman had not been candid with the board about what is up at OpenAI. Later we discovered, so now that entire weekend starting, I think it was a Thursday or a Friday, in fact, it was a Friday morning, 17th November, when Sam Altman gets fired, and then that entire weekend news erupting over the next 2 days of Satya Nadella offering Sam Altman a job at Microsoft, 600 people at OpenAI showing that strength of unity, wanting to resign from OpenAI, all of them willing to join Microsoft. And in that entire process, a new CEO gets hired at OpenAI. I think Emmett Shear was the name, if I'm not mistaken, and he had come from Twitch. And thereafter comes Monday, and the tables have turned once again. It's done a full 360-degree turn, and Sam Altman is back in the driver's seat. So I think a very, very exciting year there for Sam Altman, no doubt. Now, what happened thereafter was, of course, that the board members that did not sing the same tune as Sam Altman were fired from the board. Now remember, the board of OpenAI, and OpenAI as a company is actually a trust. It is supposed to be a non-profit making trust. The problem that the board had with Sam Altman was that Sam Altman had become revenue focused, was looking at B2B solutions, partnering with Microsoft, etc., to really have this this power of OpenAI and ChatGPT integrated in the entire technology spectrum. Now the board did not like that, and that was our original understanding of the story. And as days passed, we realized that Sam Altman was onto something else, and that was called AGI, Artificial General Intelligence.
And this is,
this
where
is something
gets
that
interesting.
irked the board, because Sam Altman had not been candid with the board about AGI and what AGI can do and how it can disrupt the whole AI landscape, which we know very little of still. I think its potential is huge, and
I think
that
at
is where
this
the
point
story
we
was.
have to tell our viewers what is AGI. What do we know of AGI?
Okay, well, to just paraphrase Sam Altman himself, he's saying that the world is yet to discover the true potential of AI, and AGI, or Artificial General Intelligence, is actually a technology which we've seen in sci-fi movies decades in the making, really coming to life now. And this was his interview, in fact, to the Time magazine after he was named CEO of the year, or just ahead of that. And he said that this is, in fact, going to be one AI tool which will challenge human abilities like we've never seen before. And that perhaps was the risk, and that was the fear that the board of OpenAI had, that you're developing something taming which could be a challenge, and unleashing that potential out to the world in the absence of very, very stringent regulations, in the absence of a general understanding of what AI can do and what AI should be permitted to do, is what really made the board skeptical of Sam Altman. But yeah, AGI is level next of AI. It is something that we've seen in sci-fi movies, and it is something that is going to apparently be even smarter than human intelligence. I mean, you would not want to believe that, and you would not perhaps want that to happen. It will possibly challenge people like us, but the smartest people out there getting challenged by AI should not be taken kindly, I think, in the world.
And before we move forward, this is a story that has captured people's imagination from start to finish. January, I remember we were sitting here in the News9 studios. We just started talking about what ChatGPT cannot do. Apart from the fact that it was widely downloaded, got 1 million subscribers right at the beginning. That was when the story started. The competition started developing in, and subsequent to which the turbulence that Sam Altman has seen in his life. But what's to come, Krishna, I think, by the way of general intelligence, artificial general intelligence that Kartik explained a little bit of, is going to be the future as far as 2024 is concerned for Sam Altman and OpenAI.
Right. I really don't want to be the crystal ball gazer when it comes to artificial general intelligence, of which Mr. Altman himself says that the world knows very little about, including artificial intelligence. But what did happen, I would say, the way the story captured popular imagination, it certainly gave many a sense of deja vu about what happened with Apple and Steve Jobs, and how he was kicked out by the board, eventually only to come back as the prodigal son and to take Apple to new heights and launch the iPod first, and then the iPhone eventually, and then the rest, as I say, is history. But in the
that took some time. This took 5 days.
Yeah,
Friday to Wednesday, tables had turned.
Right, that's how fast technology was moving 20 years ago as compared to now. That's what I would say. 20 years ago, it was a matter of months or some years, and these days it's a matter of days or a matter of hours. For example, we went from the first edition of ChatGPT to the next edition of ChatGPT in a matter of 3 months or 4 months. That's all it took for a technology that's largely under-discovered or undiscovered, so to speak. So in that sense, it was a hark back to that times of the kind of, if you all thought, like, if you just heard about Steve Jobs as the iconic founder of Apple, who, and nobody would have guessed that he was thrown out of the company at one point in time. 10 years down the line, when people are talking about Altman, Sam Altman, the great of artificial intelligence, I'm sure we will have to go and tell those people what happened 10 years ago in the year 2023 when Sam Altman was thrown out unceremoniously. So the way I look at it, I'm seeing this both 20 years before and how we talk about Altman 10 years from now. What happened in 2023 would be one of the most pivotal moments in Sam Altman's life.
For Sam Altman, also for OpenAI, because what's to come as far as artificial general intelligence is concerned, we don't even know 1/4 of it, 1/10 of it, I would say. And that is going to be the big surprise for 2024.